In this video, I'm going to talk about early signs a stock can give showing that it may do well over the next few weeks or months. Now, I absolutely love doing this kind of thing. You may not know this about Top Tier Capital, but we develop algorithmic trading systems, and these systems trade many different markets. So this is one of the strategies that we use to find opportunities in the stock market. So I'm pretty excited to show you this one, so let's just get right into it. Okay, so this system is mainly a counter-trend trading system. We use the RSI to show us if we are extremely oversold. When we get extremely oversold conditions, that's when we want to buy. Personally, I would rather buy at the lows than buy at the highs. So anyway, let's just see what this strategy does. So what we're looking for initially is the RSI to be below 30. This purple line here on the bottom is 30, so when we were below 30, we're just waiting. Now we wait for it to pop above 30. When we get that, we take note of a few things, and that clearly happens right there. So let's just go up here. So we take note of the price when that occurs. Now we just wait again. We wait for the RSI to dip back below 30. So the RSI was below 30 back here, and now it's back below 30 again within a short period of time, and that indicates extremely oversold conditions. Now this period of time should be about 30 days or less. You don't want to do it, over several months and your trend is no longer with you anymore. So that's a general good rule is 30 days, but I generally, kind of play it by ear. I kind of just feel it out there. So we also want to see the percentage change in the market from this point where we popped out of the RSI to back being under to be a good 10 to 15% move, because sometimes this can happen where the market kind of went sideways. That's not oversold. We need it to be further down as well, and decently down. So this was about a 10% move. I usually want it a little bit higher, but this is just for an example here. So what we look for is us to dip below. When we dip below, that's when we buy. This arrow should probably be moved to right there. So we buy right there. And we kind of just creep up from there. You can see that we kind of gained about 10% or more from this move from the bottom to the top there. So pretty good trade. Now, let's go to one that's just an outright blockbuster of a trade. That's earlier on here. This stock is NOV, by the way. You can have a look at this, and the period on the RSI is 14. That's a typical period that people use for the RSI. So once again here, we pop up out of 30, and we just wait for it to dip below, and this technically does dip below if you look at the actual numbers. But what I generally use for something like this is it's got to be really close. I mean, it's pretty much there. So visually, you can see that it's pretty much there. Technically, it did go below, but visually, it's also below. So what you do is you buy the next morning, and then you can clearly see what happened there. And I could talk about when you should exit these systems, but that would be a whole nother video all on its own. This is kind of an entry signal here. You can use your own system. You can say, I want to make 10%, risk 5, whatever. This thing tends to buy near the bottom. This first trade bought, we got the signal on this bar, so we bought the next morning on this green bar at the open, so right down here, and so on and so forth. So that's what you need to do with a system like this. We're looking for extremely oversold in a short period of time. Oh, and by the way, you may be asking yourself, well, it looks like there were 2 dips below the RSI here. Why didn't you buy here? Another rule I use is it's got to be, this dip over here has to occur greater than a certain amount of days. It's got to be more than a week, because this can continue to go on. It can chop up around the RSI for a long time before we get a definitive pop back up in the RSI. So a couple of days have got to go by here, so this first one doesn't count. The first one initially counts, but then when we get this next one, we use that one as our new number. So that's how that works. So that's how it works to the long side. I want to show you the short side as well. This is Caterpillar, and let me get rid of that. So you can clearly see the RSI dips below 70. Now we use 70 to the top side, 30 to the downside. So this green horizontal line is 70. RSI dips below 70. We wait for it to dip back above, for it to creep back above 70 within a certain period of time. It's been a short period of time. The price has risen. This red bar is where this dip below. You probably can't tell that, but from here to this pop back up is a good decent amount of percentage. You go short there. And if you're willing to add to your position, we get another confirmation right there on this green bar, so we would enter on this red bar. So you'd have 2 different positions averaging out, and you'd currently be in profits. So That's how that works there. That's another example. I could give you examples all day long. I like to give examples of times when it doesn't work out. I know everybody just wants to show you when it makes money, but here's a point where it doesn't. So this is LNC. Now the thing is, these trends can be extremely strong, so you can get to a point where you don't make any money on it. So here's the RSI sold off hard, and then it pops back up. You take note of the price, and sure enough, it dips back down within a short period of time. This is where you would buy. You would buy on this green bar here, and you wouldn't really have much with you until you just get clobbered. You get another buy signal down here. If you were brave enough to average it out, then you would. Otherwise, you cut your losses and move on. And you can see over time, yes, it made a lot. It made money, but you would have been sweating for this one if you stayed with it. So you need to make up your own rules for exits on that, but it doesn't always work out. It's about 80% profitable, sometimes 85 if you can narrow down the instruments that you know are good for it. Now, I realize that most of you probably can't scan 600 stocks, looking for this kind of situation, because that's what we do. So I've pointed out a few. I'm going to point out a few in this video that do meet the criteria currently, and I'll put a gigantic list of some that are about to be, about to maybe confirm this trend in the description. I'll actually put a link to that because it could be pretty long. So let's show you the British pound. This is one that I actually went in on. I went long the British pound yesterday, and you can see why. We have a couple of things going on here. I also like to confirm it with other things. You may not just want to use this just by itself. Get confirmation all around. So here's a little trend channel. Let's draw that. So we were oversold back here, clearly popped back up. Then we came back down, and now yesterday, or not yesterday, on this big giant red bar, we dipped back below. That's my long entry point. So I actually entered on the open of this day, and you don't have to necessarily do it on the open. You can kind of feel it out and do it at the close if you want. Just whatever you like. Most investors either buy in the beginning or the end of the day, not usually around, the middle of the day. So another thing that helped me confirm this is we were in this downtrend channel. We broke support of that downtrend channel, which is just madness. Usually that's a sign of extremely oversold. So that's another confirmation for me. So I bought that one. We'll have to see what works out there. And you can probably still get in on this one because it hasn't really risen yet, or fallen for that matter. So that's an interesting one. The euro is one that did this earlier. You can't really get on the back of this one anymore, but you can see we dipped back below over here, and then when we pop back up, that's on this green bar here. We would have been short there, had a little bit of heat go against us, and then we'd be in the green. One that I just did was the, I don't have a chart of it, but it's the US dollar JPY. That's a currency, the yen. So I'm now long the yen. So even though everyone in the world is short the yen, so we'll have to see what happens there because it's just ridiculously oversold now. So same thing here with the SPY. This is something you can do if you only want to use this as a long entry only type of deal. Then I would trade the SH on this one. That's the short version of this ETF. So you once again we get the RSI dipped below. We have the increase in price in a short period of time, and the RSI dips or the RSI pops back up, and you go short here. So you could technically be short the SPY here. You didn't really get confirmation because we were in this trend channel, but either way, it could be decent. So if you spread this out between different instruments, some will win, some won't. But once again, it's about 80% profitable. So that's why I like it, and I hope you found this useful. Now, I like doing videos like this because it's pretty fun, and I get to kind of change pace and show you some strategies that I think are pretty neat. So I think I'm going to keep this going. So please, share this video and like and comment, leave me suggestions on things that you like and don't like, and I'll modify as needed. But thank you very much for watching. Happy trading, and good luck out there.